Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to Digitizing India, a Cisco initiative in collaboration with cnbc TV 18, where we look at the impact of digitization on different sectors across the country. On the previous episode, we looked at how leading players in the BFSI sector were digitizing their operations to provide better services to customers, reduce costs and improve business processes. On the episode today, we take a look at the telecom sector through the eyes of Airtel, Vodafone and Idea on how they've infused digital technologies as strategic business drivers.
India is home to over 1 billion mobile subscribers. More than a fifth of those are smartphone users. Having just pipped the US with a count of 220 million smartphones, India is now the second largest smartphone country in the world. According to the telecom regulator TRAI, out of the total subscriber base of 1 billion plus, the divide between rural and urban India is not high, putting rest to the argument that the mobile revolution is only an urban phenomenon. India's growing middle class is triggering demand and affordable smartphones are feeding the hunger. Exposure to mobile transactions is growing and app developers are upping security measures to keep data safe. The mobile screen is replacing traditional entertainment mediums at an unprecedented pace. Cisco's Visual Networking Index projects that the consumption of video over the internet will grow to 67% of all data usage in 2020 from 39% currently. India's largest mobile operator by customer base, Airtel is adopting digitization across its operations to service its ever-growing number of mobile users. Automating and digitizing their sales and distribution and providing customers with all the information they need through the My Airtel mobile app are just some of the steps undertaken by Airtel in its digital march. Analytics are also paving the path to understand the customer better, and the company is geared up to engage with consumers more effectively.
Our entire journey is very customer theme led. So we've actually organized ourselves by different customer themes, and it's a very customer focused digitization, and that's what we've been driving through. We've revamped a lot of our processes and our customer journeys, all with the view of digitization, because we don't think it's just about automation. I think it's about creating new models for the consumers as well as for us, and actually interacting with the consumers in a very different way than how we would do in a brick and mortar kind of a company.
Customization is the new success mantra, and digitization through social and analytical tools is helping Airtel improve efficiencies and save time, while also understanding user preferences to personalize product or service offerings rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. Of course, what is critical here is the amount of customer data that needs to remain safe and secure.
It takes you into a world which is very real time. So you have to build the processes in such a way they're lean and agile and very flexible. And at the same time that you have built enough safety nets to safeguard both the security of the organization as well as of the consumers and of your data, etc. And once you've done that, I think the efficiency gain is absolutely immense. But I think the focus, the gain on the customer experience side is probably equally if not more. So I think it has to be a balance of these two. But as the consumers are changing a lot of their behavior, what's becoming really important is for us to understand a consumer at a consumer level, not at a mass segment level. And I think as you do that, the only way you can do it is you need a lot of power of machine learning, deep analytics and advanced analytics, and getting very contextual and real time. And I think that's what's driving us as well as is driving many other organizations.
In an endeavor to get closer to their customers, Airtel has launched My Airtel app, which allows subscribers to manage all their Airtel services on the go. From billing to data usage information to selecting other value-added services is now just a touch away.
At Airtel, we are driving a digital Airtel, and I think many of our consumers have already been seeing some of the elements of that. We are driving a lot of penetration of the My Airtel app, and it's doing really well. We've revamped a large part of our website and are continuing to do so. It's a journey. And it's based on a lot of feedback that we get from the consumers.
Another innovative application is the Airtel Leap program, which allows users to log onto the Airtel website to see the location of mobile towers in any part of the country and the status of these towers. This ensures transparency with the customer and real-time internal information accessible to all.
With the LEAP program, we're trying to open up ourselves as much as we can to the public. So there's, any information you want on Airtel, on our network, it's all out there at the fingertips of any of the consumers. We're driving this very, very passionately.
The telecom sector is integral to the Digital India mission. It is on the back of the telecom infrastructure that the unconnected will get online and the digital divide will get bridged. In such a scenario, it may be safe to say that service providers are at the core of this digital transformation.
If you look at what Digital India actually is, from a technology standpoint, you have three layers in the solution. You have the connectivity layers, you have the platform, and then you have the applications thing on the top. So connectivity layer is nothing but what service providers are rolling out there. The fiber connectivity, the transmission, 3G and 4G, and any multiple access, whether it's a fixed, mobile, or a cable operator, right? So that's the connectivity piece. Then on top sits the platform. That platform basically is the service platform that extracts value out of this connectivity layer and creates open interfaces for application providers to connect to the system. So bottom two layers are fully in control of service providers, and the top, of course, there will be the whole ecosystem of app providers that will create applications for different industries like education, health, logistics, security surveillance, and so on and so forth.
After the break, we meet the Director of Technology at Vodafone India, Vishant Vora, who talks about the digital implementations undertaken at the mobile operator to optimize their workings. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Digitizing India, a Cisco initiative in collaboration with cnbc TV 18. Let's now look at the digital innovations that Vodafone India is bringing to the fore to enable sustainable growth for the company and better their offerings to the customer.
Vodafone India, the wholly owned subsidiary of British telecom major Vodafone Group plc, has an aggressive game plan when it comes to adopting technology to upgrade their network. One among multiple initiatives that Vodafone prides itself on is the implementation of the self-optimizing network, a technology which optimizes the performance of the mobile network, decreases operating and capital expenditure with the help of automation, and provides a superior customer experience across data and voice services.
It is like hiring the best network engineers in the world and getting them to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on all of your sites all the time. And that sort of advantage we could have never had. Now, of course, a lot of this is required because we are managing much more complex networks and much more complex technologies. But it does actually demonstrate that without these technologies, you could actually have a significant disadvantage in the market. This platform is now enabling us to make changes to our networks so much at a much larger scale. In theory, we can do about 20 million changes per day with this platform. And today, we are actually making 50,000 changes per day. Now, that just would not have been possible without going with this technology. It is part of going digital, and it is also part of actually making sure that we become competitive, we are much more customer focused, and we have the best performing networks, providing the best customer experience.
While the Indian telecom market is experiencing robust growth, there are challenges on operating margins. The high cost of spectrum forces operators to innovate extensively on pricing and service offerings to stay competitive. Return on capital employed is a slow process, and staying profitable is not easy. Investing in the right technologies and creating the right digital mix to drive business efficiencies is hence even more critical here.
One of the key challenges in India is that the most basic input resource is the spectrum, which is the most expensive in the world. So here we operate in a market with the lowest prices, with the most expensive ingredient. So very, very important for us to make sure that the choices we make in our technologies, the investments that we make are going to have a long life and also going to be able to let us do multiple things so they can serve multiple needs at a very competitive cost, at very competitive prices that we procure those technologies. Many of the technologies we buy, our competitors can buy as well. It is about how you put it all together and create an overall solution that makes a difference. Ultimately, customer is not really buying technology, he is buying a service. But how you deliver that service depends on the technology choices you make. And that's where we think we've done a pretty good job at putting that solution together.
Vodafone partnered with Cisco in 2010 to implement IP technology across their network, and over the years, the results have accrued.
So Cisco was one of the first partners we chose back in 2010 when we decided to IPify our network. We have had that relationship now successfully implemented across a vast part of our estate. They are also helping us with our 4G rollout in the markets that where we have launched. And specifically, I would say the self-optimizing network technology I spoke about has helped reduce our drop calls by 25% and also helped us really make our network much more agile to serve our customers.
Going forward, Vodafone is testing new technologies like cognitive computing that simulates the human brain that learns and teaches itself along the way. This makes machines more human with lesser ambiguity.
We are about to run a pilot both in our network and IT space to apply cognitive computing. This is kind of the human brain processes applied to make machines much smarter. So we are going to be applying that in our network. The software-defined networks. So this is about actually making sure that we decouple our hardware and the software and put more and more functionalities into the software, and then we can use any generic hardware to run that functionality.
The Indian telecom sector is one of the fastest growing and fastest evolving industries in the country. Needless to say then that the leading service providers are constantly working at creating newer technology matrices and layers of abstraction to sweeten their offerings. But this transformation cannot be a standalone or a one-off initiative. It needs an organizational push and leadership vision to create a meaningful difference.
They need to overhaul their entire business model because the model that worked in last decade is not going to work in the decade that we have just entered. The second piece they need to really fast track is the network and IT architectural transformation, because I think you need to get your network and IT ready to embark this digital era, so you can really get monetization out for the company, right? So third piece is that you need to look at transforming your consumer experience, because at the end of the day, the customer is becoming really internet or digital savvy, and if you want to motivate him to pay more, you got to on a instant basis, you got to gratify him, you got to change his experience of consuming your services. And lastly, and the most important one is that you need to transform the competence, and that is across the board in your company. You got to get your workforce digitally ready. You got to get your business processes digitally ready.
On the other side, we meet Anil Tandon, Chief Technology Officer at Idea Cellular, who tells us why digitization is important for Idea. Stay tuned to Digitizing India.
Welcome back. You're watching Digitizing India, a Cisco initiative in collaboration with cnbc TV 18. We now turn the spotlight on Idea Cellular and learn how the company is adopting technology to fine-tune its service offerings and boost customer loyalty.
Up until 2011, Idea Cellular primarily focused on voice services with a big focus on the rural customer. With mobile internet catching up, that year saw the launch of Idea's 3G services, and there has been no stopping the company since. Data services grew at almost 70% year-on-year, and 2015 also saw Idea launch its 4G plans that are now available across 10 circles. So what is the technological intervention that has helped the company seamlessly provide services across the three bands of 2G, 3G and 4G?
One of the technologies which is another on the radio side is the single RAN, or a single radio access network, which means in one equipment on a particular spectrum you can have multiple technologies. Today in 1800 megahertz a single radio unit can give me 2G and 4G in the same radio equipment. So tomorrow, if any other technology comes in, it would be possible to do it on the same radio. So therefore introduction of this has been an important thing in likely reduction of what the obsolescence of the equipment is going to be.
Innovation is a key differentiator across businesses today, and the telecom industry is no exception. But a vital cog in the growth of a company is its ability to spot the right innovation and be able to bet money on a future-ready architecture.
We've seen over the years a lot of major names are no longer there, basically because they put their bet on the wrong thing. So I think one of the major things would be for us to be able to continuously keep looking at what is the new technologies coming in, which is the one that is suitable for us to adapt, which are the new revenue streams that are coming in, and if we need to make a shift, then that shift must be made at that moment of time. The critical timing and continuously spotting the right technology would be an important thing.
All of this towards continuously understanding customer demands and how best they can be met. The power of data analytics is another tool used to keep subscribers satisfied and thus decrease customer churn. These analytics are derived from call data records and voice and data usage. Additionally, Idea is also using analytics in distributor sales management to keep a track of distributor incentives and high SIM card demand areas.
It is based more on the CDRs and certain, that is the call data records, and the charging, how a person uses the charging, how much of usage he has in voice and in data. And using all these things and using the analytics, we've been able to come out what we call as a program is called the IRIS, by virtue of which we are able to give micro-segmented offers to the various, which are in virtual near real time, that we can tell the subscriber as to how, what is the micro-segmented package which is available to him. He can take it online, he can take it by buying coupons or by recharge coupon. So that is what one of the measures that we've been doing. This is the IRIS program. We have introduced an Idea app, by virtue of which earlier it was on the portal that a person had to go, but now on the mobile we have an Idea app by where any person can do all his self-service, whether it is in terms of creating his own plan, payment of bills, or any of the VAS services to be started off or to be terminated. All that can be done by using the Idea app.
On the anvil are plans to introduce a Customer Experience Management System, or CEMS, which will analyze data collected from additional sources. Again, all of this to offer better customization to Idea cellular customers.
The Customer Experience Management System would be a system which would be taking in inputs from many more touch points, including the entire network, by introducing probes into the network. So, and that is going to be more based on for a data part of it. So with this, what will happen is that we would be able to, rather than being a reactive in our approach, in a proactive manner, we would know whether a customer is having any complaint or a bad experience of the network or things like that. And even when he rings up the call center agent would get all the information right there on the screen and be able to resolve his problem much faster and hopefully in the first time resolution.
The telecom sector in India is witnessing major transformations. The ever-increasing use of mobile phones and rapid growth of data usage is forcing mobile operators to digitize or risk being left behind.
technology is the key force behind, but there are other transformations which are required. And in terms of transitions, that are changing the way communication industry should go in the coming decade. I think this decade is all about digitization. And I think if I pick 3 or 4 such things, I think the first one is clearly IoT, IoE or IoT. The second one is e-payments. I think we've seen a phenomenal development in that space. The third piece is what we call big data. I think you've seen the growth that has happened in the data. The next one is mobile advertising. And then the last piece is about virtualization.
It is clear that telecom service providers in India are going all out to digitize their operations, facilitating easy customer usage across the length and breadth of the country and thus playing a large part in India's digital journey.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode, but do tune in next week as we continue to bring you stories from other industry sectors that are reaping the rewards of digitization. Do join the conversation on social media using the hashtag Cisco Digitizing India. From the entire team, goodbye and many thanks for watching.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.